So, Mario Kart Wii, right? MKWii was the second game in the series, but it was the first one for me to have conscious thoughts on, and it's still my go-to Mario Kart game when I don't want to unleash my Switch. I mean, sure, I like Double Dash on the good old GameCube, but saying that as a late 2000s kid made me a popular choice to get bonked over the head by my cousin Larry. Because of this, I had to man up and get Mario Kart Wii to be the one true Chad on the playground, so I didn't. I never actually owned any Nintendo consoles until 2013, so being like any small child during this time, I had to go over to my grandma's house to do some wrist flinging. And oh boy, it was worth it. I absolutely loved Mario Kart Wii because it was such a fun game and my small little goopy gamer brain went nuts with it. And how much do I care about it now? Oh yeah, I own this game. For some reason, I just lost my passion for getting slapped a million times at once in this game, but I still remember it fondly. But why? Koopa Cape. Yeah, I'm a bit biased when it comes to playing any track in this game besides the one in the Star Cup, so I thought it'd be a good idea to branch outside of my comfort zone and look at the other 31 tracks in this game. So, without further ado, let's start this dumpster fire with the Mushroom Cup. The first track in this game is Luigi Circuit. Really? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with this track, it's just kind of there. There's nothing interesting about it. I don't think it's a super good opening stage, but it's passable. Moo Moo Meadows is the second track of the Mushroom Cup, and it's definitely an improvement. This track is pretty good, but there's a lot more room for error than Luigi's Circuit, and it's also just kind of fun to launch off the ramp right here. After that is Mushroom Gorge, the subtitle for the average EA fan's scalp. This one is far more interesting than the past two. It even has branching paths in it, which is something I always like in Mario Kart games, and the segment where you jump on mushrooms is pretty cool. I mean, obviously you had to jump on mushrooms, right? It's like the whole purpose of the name, but the final track of the Mushroom Cup is Toad's Factory, and it's not bad, but I feel like it could have been much cooler. I like the idea of a factory where the classic Mario items are made, but it's just another track to me. I also don't get why this is Toad's Factory. What, did he lease it or something? The Flower Cup is up next, and like the one before it, the opening track is okay. Mario Circuit is like a slightly more interesting Luigi Circuit to me. It doesn't really say much, but Coconut Mall is definitely one of the best tracks in the whole game. The setting is pretty unique for a Mario Kart title, and I'm pretty sure everyone is contractually obligated to like this one. You may think Coconut Mall is my favorite in this cup, but sorry, DK Summit is what I personally consider to be the best. I just really like the setting, though I don't really see what this has to do with Donkey Kong. I know in the British version it's called DK Snowboard Cross, and while I think that's probably a better title, doesn't matter. DK Summit is pretty cool. Wario's Gold Mine is the last track of the Flower Cup, and it's definitely a better way to piss out than Toad's Factory. I don't really remember hearing about Wario's involvement in the gold rush of the 1850s, but it's still a good track that I think earns a Medal of Honor for its decency and competence. Now we're entering the returning tracks from previous games, which are exactly what they sound like. Unlike later games, some of these just look like they were ripped straight from their origin. First we have the Shell Cup, opening with Peach Falls from Double Dash. It's a pretty standard beach level, but I do appreciate the enemies in this track are actual enemies and chase you around, which actually adds multiple types of challenges to racing instead of just zooming around. After that, we have Yoshi Falls from Mario Kart DS. I'm a big fan of this one. I think the setting is pretty nice, and it brings a lot of dopamine to my goopy gamer brain. I don't really see what this has to do with Yoshi that much, but it's still a pretty fun track, and I see why they brought it over. Unfortunately, the Yoshi streak ends with Ghost Valley 2 from the original Super Nintendo game. I don't really get why this is here. I mean, it's a pretty generic track, which is the same for all tracks from the original. It's not horrible or anything, but I just don't think it should be here as is. Mario Raceway from the N64 game is the last track of this cup, and it exists. Moving on. Wait, there's even more returning tracks? Half of the whole track selection is returning. I noted that a lot of these are liked by the fanbase, but Jesus, that's a lot. Sure, I'll stand up and fight for Waluigi Stadium like any other decent human being, but my attention span is too small to review every single returning track. And now that we're back on track, we have the Star Cup. By far my favorite cup in the whole game. We start out with Daisy Circuit, it's alright, there's some weird statues, but then we get to the holy grail of humorous Mario Kart design. Koopa Cape. My favorite track in the whole damn series, just by how cool it is. You start on top, you go down a little water slide, you keep pulling off tricks, and boom! You jump into this amazing underwater section. This is such a visually appealing stage in ways I can't really describe. I feel like I've been here, even though it's still on my bucket list. I'm a little sad this one didn't make it to Mario Kart 8, but it's still definitely my favorite. Maple Tree follows Koopa Cape, and it's pretty solid. The setting is neat, the part where you go flying reminds me of DK Summit, and there's plenty of opportunities to go flying. The final track of my favorite cup is Grumble Volcano. It's decent, but why they decided to put it in MK8 is beyond me. It just feels like there's already a lot of Fire World type tracks across the series, but it's still an alright send-off. The last cup in this game being the Special Cup, I feel anything but special when playing Dry Dry Ruins. This is completely just me here, but I don't really like desert levels. I already live in one. Moonview Highway is the second track, and this is an improvement. This track is a bit similar to Toad's Turnpike, except I don't get reminded of the northeast region of the United States. It definitely has its own original style, but it's still a fun time overall. Bowser's Castle is a bit similar to the Double Dash version, but it's still pretty fun. I think the highlight of it is the Mega Bowser area, but that's usually the standard for any iteration of Bowser's Castle. And now, the final stage of Mario Kart Wii. After everything is a bit underwhelming, honestly, but before you get out your pitchforks, the Wii version of Rainbow Road is still competent, and it does its job well. I champion the Mario Kart 7 version instead every day of the week. It's just a whole lot more original than the other versions, while maintaining the fact that it's still Rainbow Road. And that is the entirety of Mario Kart Wii stages that I care to look at. But really, did this change my opinion of the game? Did going through tons and tons of the tracks give me a better side of Mario Kart Wii? To answer your question as blunt and clear as possible, Koopa Cape. Guess who? Welcome to the end stream. I doubt people actually get to this part, but thank you. This video took a lot longer than I was expecting, but the day I'm hoping to upload this, I hit 200 subs. That's a lot more than I ever expected. I don't know where you guys come from, but thanks. I'll see you next week, probably. Bye.